Hello, and welcome back. Today, I'd like to share another Colt single-action Army cavalry revolver from my collection. This revolver has an interesting history. It was accepted by the U.S. government in 1885 during the Indian Wars era. Later, it was recalled and refurbished by Colt, and then issued to the New York State Militia. The overall condition of this revolver is particularly noteworthy. Most surviving cavalry revolvers from this period show heavy wear from hard service, long storage, and limited maintenance. This one looks practically new. In 1885, it was inspected by Captain Frank Heath of the U.S. Ordnance Department and sub-inspected by David F. Clark. Their acceptance marks are an important part of this revolver's identity. Captain Heath's cartouche appears on the lower portion of the left grip panel. David F. Clark's cartouche is found on the lower right grip panel. His initials are also found on the frame, barrel, cylinder, and the bottom of the right grip panel. These marks document the revolver's acceptance under the careful standards required for military service. This gun's serial number is listed on page 79 of the book Colt Cavalry and Artillery Revolvers, a continuing study by John A. Kopech and H. Sterling Fenn. It appears within a group of 126 cavalry revolvers inspected by Captain Frank Heath. Kopech and Fenn noted that most revolvers in this group have never been located. Unfortunately, there's no way to identify which unit was issued this revolver during the Indian Wars period. John Kopech did observe that two other Colt cavalry revolvers in the same serial number range had been issued to the 2nd and 8th Cavalry Regiments. That doesn't prove it was assigned to either unit, but it does place it in the same general production and military service context as rather revolvers known to have been issued to these two regiments. In 1893, the U.S. Ordnance Department recalled most of the cavalry revolvers that had been issued to the regular Army. These firearms were collected and stored at the Springfield Armory. Then, in 1895, this revolver, along with 1,196 other Colt cavalry revolvers, was returned to Colt for refurbishment. During this process, each revolver was carefully inspected and worn parts replaced. Afterwards, Colt applied their commercial charcoal blue finish and placed fresh case colors on the frames. The first 800 cavalry revolvers were earmarked for the New York State Militia. This revolver was shipped to New York during October 1895. Later, an armorer stamped C-124 on the butt strap. This mark indicates this gun was assigned to slot 124 in Troop C's handgun storage rack. Why did the New York Militia need additional Colt single-action Army cavalry revolvers in 1895? At that time, the New York State Militia was tasked to assist civil authorities to maintain the peace during labor strikes, riots, and other disturbances. The 1890s were a turbulent period in many urban areas. During the Great Trolley Car Strike of 1895, for example, the New York Militia had been sent into Brooklyn to quell violent confrontations between angry crowds and civil authorities. Accounts from the period describe large crowds, efforts to disarm personnel, and several bayonet injuries before the situation was brought under control. Against that backdrop, the New York Militia's receipt of additional Colt revolvers made sense. These weapons were needed during times of civil unrest, when state forces might be required to protect property, maintain order, and support local authorities. Most Colt cavalry revolvers of this era experienced hard use. They were issued, carried, transported, repaired, stored, reissued, and often altered over the years. Today, it's common to see these old war horses with severely worn finishes, damaged grips, unreadable markings, mismatched parts, and other evidence of long and difficult service. That is what makes this revolver so special. It remains in exceptional condition. It was delivered to the U.S. government during the Indian Wars period, recalled and refurbished at Colt in 1895, and then in 1895 reissued to the New York Militia. Its history and condition make it a highly collectible example of a Colt cavalry revolver. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a comment and sharing it with other collectors and those interested in military firearms. And as always, thank you for watching and for helping preserve the stories behind these interesting pieces of American history.